Happening, people? Welcome back to GavGoesIn. Big up to Reluctant Gamer each and every time for coming through. So yeah, guys, listen, Xavi Simons. I have to be honest. I have to be honest. I didn't see this one coming. You'd think, the amount of money Chelsea have recouped over the last couple of weeks or so, you would say, with the sales of Noni Madueke, obviously the sale of Petrovic, who's gone to Bournemouth for 25 mil. And then you think of the Club World Cup that they just won as well. Big up to Barbara Joseph as well for coming through. And for me, to think that they're linked with Xavi Simons, and to be honest with you, Xavi Simons is someone that I do think is a good player. But I mean, is he what Chelsea need? Like, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if they actually need him. I think if we look at Chelsea's attacking line right now, you'd think of William Estaval, obviously, who's at the club now. You think of him and Cole Palmer, two players that you would say are quite identical in terms of, how they play, in terms of the positions that they're going to take up. Both left-footed as well. So you think of both players can both play in the 10, both play from the right. And then you look at Pedro Neto. I think Pedro Neto, in terms of what they've got right now, and probably Bino Gittins as well, are two out-and-out wingers that are going to stay on the touchline. I think with Pedro Neto, I prefer seeing Pedro Neto on the right-hand side personally, so he can cut in and get his shots off. When he plays on the left, he plays more of a, down the line kind of winger, trying to get crosses in. So he's an option there. And then you've got Bino Gittins, who I just mentioned. Again, Bino Gittins cost 55 mil. And for me, it's a position that that still needs improving. And I think with Bino Gittins on that side, for me, they're definitely looking for someone that is an upgrade on that. So to spend 55 mil for Bino Gittins, I think is a lot of money. But then you've got Xavi Simons, who's been linked to Chelsea. And the problem that I see with Xavi Simons in comparison to the wide players they've got already, Xavi Simons for me is more of a central 10, and he can play from the left. I believe he can play from the right as well. I'm just thinking, is it too similar to what they've got already? Because as I said, you got Cole Palmer and William Estaval, who are both, technicians, both players that would like to get on the ball and create. And then if you're bringing in Xavi Simons, I think Xavi Simons is a bit identical to what they are, and I think in the wide areas, I think Chelsea would probably need something a bit different, I think if you look at all the players they've got in them attacking positions, I think Bino Gittins is probably is a lot different to Cole Palmer, to William Estaval. He's probably similar in the mold to a Pedro Neto, in terms of being like an out-and-out winger. But then to bring in Xavi Simons, again, I think Xavi Simons for me would make more sense, if they didn't have a Cole Palmer or a Estaval. Because obviously rumours are saying that Estaval wants to play central, And what I would say is I'm quite shocked at the link, if I'm honest. Not because he isn't a good player, Xavi Simons, but I just don't see if he's the type of profile that Chelsea need. We all know that Chelsea need to go and get a Rodrigo. Rodrigo is a definite choice in terms of that position. One of the best in the world as well. And I think with Xavi Simons, I think that's more of a number 10 signing, which, is surprising when they've got Cole Palmer and they've got Estaval that can play there as well. But I'm just thinking for this season, because as a lot of people should know, and definitely Chelsea fans as well, Cole Palmer for me is someone that is better playing from out wide, because he can get on the ball, and if you look at the 2 goals that he scored against PSG in the Club World Cup final, you know what I mean? It's one of them things where if he was playing central, I don't believe he gets those both goals, because both of those goals came from him arriving from sort of the right-hand side position. Because I think if he starts in the centre, then, as I said, those 2 goals probably won't come because he's already in that part of the pitch. You know, so I wonder if Maresca now, because Madueke's gone, obviously Sancho didn't stay either. I wonder if he's gonna, revert to playing Cole Palmer back on the right hand side, and then he might play Esteval. You know, you might see Xavi Simons, if he does bring him in, play as a 10. You know, who knows? Who knows? But what I would say is that the Xavi Simons signing for me is a bit of a shock. You know, guys, if you're a Chelsea fan, let me know what you think of the Xavi Simons interest from Chelsea, and how much do you think he's going to cost as well? Because as I said, I think is he someone that Chelsea really need? You know, I don't think he is personally. I don't think he's someone Chelsea really need. You know, it's not especially when I said when you've got the likes of Cole Palmer, Esteval coming in, and Gittins obviously out there as well. And again, they do definitely need a replacement for Gittins, because even though Gittins cost 55, you know, you have to believe that Gittins is going to be a squad player. Big up to Michael Bracewell. Big up to Stephen Jackson as well. Guys, let me know what you think about the Xavi Simons interests. Let me know what you think, because yeah, it's a bit of a surprising signing. You know, I think, as I said, all the money that Chelsea have got, and it's looking like they're pivoting towards Xavi Simons. You know, and I don't personally think Xavi Simons is a signing that is needed for Chelsea. You know, I don't, and it's weird as well, because you look at Chelsea's attack. You know, obviously João Pedro, Liam Delap, they're gonna play through the middle. And then you've got Nicholas Jackson, who's still there, who can play out wide. But obviously you're looking at Jackson looking at being moved on. And Chelsea will definitely get a couple of wide players in for me. But I just don't believe it should be Xavi Simons. Not because he's not a good player, but as I said, I don't think he's someone that they desperately need in that position for me. You know, big up to Far Eom, says PSG is a good team. I can't lie, he says. They are. But as I said, Chelsea done very well to overcome them. You know, they did. And it's one of them things where it's probably a good thing for PSG, because PSG now will probably look at it and think they've got to get some more players in, funny enough, because I think they're the one team that you would look at and think there isn't really much that needs doing to that team. You know, I see yesterday they've been linked to youngster Rodrigo Moura from Porto. You know, and he's obviously looked at as Portugal's next big star. I think they're looking at him as the star that should have been João Felix. You know, so but he looks good. They've been linked to him. But big up to Gunners fan as well. Guys, come on, when you come through, guys, smash the like button and sub to the channel at GavGoesIn. You know, let me know what you think about Xavi Simons. So Michael Bracewell says PSG players get more respect than what they need. They were good at the other half of the season. Now, listen, I have to disagree, Michael. Big up for your comment, but I think we have to give credit to PSG. You know, I think, you know, I'm not going to say, you know, they were tired, because if they would have won the game, the tired excuse wouldn't have come in. I just think Chelsea deserved the win. And let's face it, man, tactically, Enzo Maresca done Luis Enrique, you know, and these things happen. But to say that PSG players get more respect and saying that they didn't have a good season or other half of the season, I disagree, because for them to win that Champions League, you know, and the way they won it, it just shows how good their team is. Because you know, I look at their team right now. Again, they're linked with Ilya Zabani from Bournemouth, looking like that's going to get over the line. There isn't much players that need to replace what they've got already. You know, and this is the thing. So they'll be looking at players that really are going to make a massive difference to their team, or potential younger players that can bide their time and come in as and when, So yeah, but I think PSG are still going to be the team to beat, man. No doubt, no doubt. But big up, man. Um, Stephen Jackson says, I don't think Chelsea needs Xavi Simons. We've got a lot of attackers. Signing him will disrupt the midfield system. Big up to Stephen. Stephen, I agree. I think when you say it disrupts the midfield system, I don't think it disrupts the midfield system, because I look at the attack. So if we forget the central midfielders of Caicedo, Lavia, and I'll put Enzo in there as well with Andre Santos. I think if we're looking attack, so you've got Cole Palmer, William Esteval, Pedro Neto, Bino Gittins, the wide attackers and the central. I think Xavi Simons for me is more of a central attacking midfielder that can play across the right and the left. But I'm looking at what Chelsea need. I think Chelsea needs someone that is probably a bit more direct but technical, if that makes sense. And this is why I look at Rodrigo. Rodrigo is that sort of player. He's that sort of level, but he's highly technical. And I think if you bring in Xavi Simons, I think Xavi Simons is too similar to a Cole Palmer yeah, he's too similar to a Cole Palmer in the sense that he would want to get on the ball and try and dictate, and obviously that's Cole Palmer's role. And then you got William Esteval who's coming in. Whether Maresca plays Esteval from the right or plays him as a plays Esteval from the right or Palmer from the right, I think there's two players there that more or less can offer the same thing, or if not better, than what Xavi Simons is going to offer. So again, Xavi Simons for me, if he does come in, is to battle with Bino Gittins for that left-hand side. And for me, I just don't know if that's the signing is needed. I think if you haven't got a Cole Palmer there, you know, then I think that signing would make more sense. But I just don't see it. I think Chelsea, they need, I mean, if you're gonna go and spend money on Xavi Simons, why not go for Eze? You know what I mean? Because I think what Simons is gonna cost is probably what Eze is gonna cost. Morgan Rogers, another one. So I think if they're going for Simons, Rogers and Eze are better players and would obviously know the Premier League a lot better. And if you're going to spend that amount of money, then why not just go for those two players? Who knows? Maybe Chelsea have been priced out of the move for both of them. I don't know, but the Xavi Simon one is a bit weird for me. But I do think he's a good player, but I just don't know if that's the player that they actually need, if I'm honest. The Premier League is cooked. Liverpool is signing more players too. Yeah, listen, Ekatike having his medical. And guys, I did say, if Liverpool get Ekatike over the line or get a striker over the line, because right now for me, I said City were favourites. I'll have to say now, with this signing, Ekatike, I'm saying Liverpool now are slight favourites for the title, And I wonder if Man City are going to do any more business to kind of change the narrative. But I'm going to say right now, as it stands, Liverpool are the favourites for the title again. They've made 4 signings there, and those 4 signings go straight into their lineup. So yeah, I'm going to say they're favourites for the title for me. Gav, yeah, they were good after January. First, they lost to Arsenal in Champions League and barely qualified for the playoffs. I think Mike was talking about PSG, guys. So, yeah, but look, I think if we look at the playoffs or for the Champions League, they don't really mean too much, because a lot of teams are trying to find their way. They're trying to get their system going, And as I said, I think the fact that PSG won the Champions League, having when Arsenal beat them in the playoffs and they weren't playing too well, it just shows you, how things can change. And PSG have evidenced that they're a team that was a lot different in comparison to what they're doing now. So, yeah, I think as long as you qualify, and you're picking up momentum, that's all that matters. Because when it gets into the latter stages, this is when you see the best teams come to the fore, and PSG done that. So, yeah, man, I definitely think they're the team to beat next season. I'm not going to change my mind just because Chelsea beat them. They'll be the team to beat for me, along with a few others if they start making some more crucial signings. Big up to Gunners fans says, do you see Arafa Bal playing for Sociedad for his entire career? I think he does. Mikel Arafabal for me is a very good player. Again, he's someone that's very underrated. The reason I like Arafabal because he's one of the, again, when he come through at Sociedad, he was playing more out wide. As a left winger, sometimes on the right. Now he plays as a false nine, and I think the reason I like Arafabal is because when you watch false nines, left-footed false nines for me, they just got a different level of ability for me, technical ability when they play there. And for me, I can see him playing for the rest of his career at Sociedad. He's now their captain, has been for a couple of seasons now. I'm not sure how old he is. I think he might be late 20s. I think he might be. And again, I think sometimes when you're at a club, you know the club, surroundings, you've come through the youth, everything's perfect for you. And I think that's probably how he looks at it. I don't see him moving. And I think if he was to move anyway, I can only see him staying in Spain and moving to another team in Spain. I don't see him going elsewhere. So yeah, for me, I think he stays at Real Sociedad for sure. And it shows how good he is really, because he's a Spanish international playing for not Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid. So it just shows you how Spain think of him as well, And again, he played recently for Spain in the Nations League. I know Spain got beat in the end, but he actually played very well. So, but yeah, no, he's a very good player, man. And as I said, I think he does stay at Sociedad for his entire career. I think if any team was to come in for him, I don't think they'll get him for cheap. So, yeah, I see him staying there. He looks like an Arsenal signing for me, Rafa Bal, Sociedad, and Spain player. Yeah, big up Gunners fan. Well, the fact that Kai Havertz is there, it means you're never going to sign a Rafa Bal, because Kai Havertz is left-footed, same as a Rafa Bal. And Kai Havertz is actually a number 10. And again, he plays like a false nine for Arsenal, So the fact that Kai Havertz is there, it means there's no need to go and sign a Rafa Bal. So as I said, very good player, but I don't see him moving anywhere. Big up to Gunners fan says, if they get him, I don't see Chelsea getting Eze. Yeah, 100%. If Chelsea sign Xavi Simons, then there's no way they're going for Eze or Rodgers. So I think they're gonna go for a left winger, someone that can play left wing and play as a 10, which Xavi Simons can do. But the same with Eze and the same with Morgan Rodgers. Eze is actually a number 10. The same with Morgan Rodgers, and they both can play out wide. So the fact that you've got both of those players in the league already, I don't see why they need to go for Xavi Simons, because you're going to end up spending, because Xavi Simons is not going to be cheap. I think he's got a release clause as well at Red Bull Leipzig. I can't remember how much the release clause is, but you're going to spend about the same amount as what Eze is going to cost. And I know Eze's older than Xavi Simons, but Eze's doing it in this league already. And Xavi Simons, is he going to adapt? Is he going to adapt to this league? I'm not too sure. So it is surprising, to be honest with you. It is surprising that they're actually going for him, but maybe they've been tracking him for a little while. And let's not forget, guys, Xavi Simons come through Barcelona's youth academy, and then obviously after that he went to PSG, and then now he's at Red Bull Leipzig. Obviously he was at PSV as well. So I think in terms of adapting and acclimatizing, I don't think he'll have any problems, because he's played in Spain, he's played in obviously his home country Holland, and in France, and now he's playing in Germany. So him coming to England, I think acclimatizing will be easy for him, you would think. And he's definitely got pedigree to be at some of those to be at those clubs, you know, some big name clubs. But I'm just surprised they're going for him. And he is a technical player, but I just thought Chelsea would have gone for something a bit different, you know. But again, they must be tracking him for a while and looking at something a bit different. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Uh, do you think Man United need to sign Visser? You know what, yeah? And big up Michael for your comment, because I said this at the start of the season, you know. I said Newcastle, and Gamer would obviously vouch for this as well. I said I don't understand why Newcastle don't make a joint before Embuemo chose Man United. I said I don't understand why Newcastle didn't make a joint bid for Hobbs and Shaw, you know, Embuemo and Visser. I didn't understand it, because you've got two players who know each other, and you know they're gonna strike up a relationship instantly at Newcastle, and it's gonna cost. You know, you would think about, if you think of Embuemo going for 70, but I believe Newcastle would have got him for 60 if he chose to go there. So you're looking at parting ways of about 100 mil on two players, and I think those two players added into Newcastle would have made them title contenders for me. You know, obviously Embuemo chose Man United and he's there now, thank God. But I was surprised that they didn't go for both of them, and it's the same thing with Man United. I'm surprised United haven't thought to themselves, right, we need a striker, someone that's experienced. You know, we've got Embuemo through the door. Why not go for Visser? You know, I don't understand the thinking, because Embuemo and Visser have played together already. So if Man United had a front line of Embuemo, Cunha, Visser and Xerxes as the two nines, listen, I'm telling you this now, I can see United getting themselves back into the top six with those four going forwards. Because you've got goals there, you've got creativity there, you know, and you've got the arrogance there of the players you need. So I'm surprised United haven't been interested in Visser, and I'm not quite sure what the reason is. You know, I mean, what I think Visser might be 28, I think, but he's played with Embuemo, and again, in terms of partnerships, they've probably got the best partnership relationship in the league. So I'm surprised Visser hasn't been a name mentioned. And again, I'm guilty of this. I haven't really mentioned Visser's name, but I haven't mentioned him because there hasn't really been any links to him in terms of strikers. But if I'm looking at strikers right now, I'm looking at Mateta and Visser, like in the Premier League. I know there was Ollie Watkins. I think Ollie Watkins is good, but I don't really want Ollie Watkins. Nicholas Jackson again isn't my top target, and what he's going to cost is ridiculous. Sesko I don't want. So yeah, I think Mateta, Visser are two options that United need to look at. For me, Ivan Toney is the dream really, but I can't see that happening. But there is strikers out there for United to go and get, but I don't know who they're setting their sights on, or who they think is going to be there. I've said already, I think Xerxes is there. If they wasn't to get a striker, try and get another number 10. But yeah, I'm surprised United haven't signed Visser from honestly, or at least made some interest in him. You know. Far Eom says we will win Chelsea in Champions League next season. After that loss, we will stay humble, focus, have another few good players and subs, and we will have Doué scoring bangers in Champions League. Boy, I'm not quite sure what you're saying here, Farum. We will stay humble, focus. So you reckon Doué's going to Chelsea? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're smoking, man. Because PSG ain't gonna sell Doué. They're not. And you're gonna win Champions League. Listen, I think you've got a chance to win the Champions League. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Champions League is a season or two too early for Chelsea. But I definitely think Chelsea will be one of the teams in the future that will be a team to watch, because all you have to do is look at the age profile of a lot of their players, and it is scary, and they're only going to be buying more and more players, in that bracket, man. So they are definitely going to be up there. But I think Champions League will be too early for them. I think their main thing for me, Chelsea, is finishing as high as possible in the league. And I think at this moment in time, I see Chelsea between third and fourth. Well, I'll say third or fourth. I'll say Chelsea at this moment in time. So I think City and Liverpool for me are still the top two. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Gamer says, I think Liverpool favourites even without Ekatike. Man City lost their winning mentality last season. Yeah, I think Man City have got a lot to prove, funny enough, because it's mad saying that after the amount of dominance that City have had. But I think City need to, they definitely need to, yeah, be a lot better than last season. That's for sure, you know. But the thing is, I think Pep and I think the players are going to know that, you know, last season was nowhere near good enough. I think the main thing for them, because they're always going to score goals going forward, it's their defense. You know, in transition, their defense is very poor. They've obviously addressed it with Ait Nori, which means Gavardio can go and play at his favoured centre back. You know, and Ait Nori is an attacking threat as well. Yeah, I think right back is a problem for them because, as I said, there's no more Carl Walker, Rico Lewis. I think Rico Lewis has dropped off. Obviously, Matthias Nunes has been playing there, and Nunes, as we know, is a midfielder. But I think because he's got the physicality, and Pep likes to play midfielders at fullback, you know, he might do that again. But I'll be surprised if they don't sign another right back come the start of the season. I think City have got another two players to sign for me this season. You know, and I think if they get two players in key positions, and for me, it's right back and it's left wing, I think they're back up there. But I think as it stands right now, Liverpool are the favourites for me with that Ekatike signing, you know, for sure. Farom says, come, let's 1v1 FC. You down, Gav? 1v1, what do you mean? 1v1? What are you saying? What, fighting? Football? What? Let me know what you mean, man. I'm not quite sure, but big up. Gunners, yeah. Gunners, yeah, they definitely could do with a centre-back. It's vital. Big up to Mas Galang from Indonesia. Bali, yeah, big up for coming through, man. Guys, come on, only 8 likes. Smash the like if you're in the chat. Just one press of the button. Obviously, help the channel to grow. And again, make sure you sub to the channel, guys. Big up. So Michael Bracewell says, Gav, what's your realistic dream signing for Man United? I think for what Man United need desperately right now, I'm gonna keep saying it, and that's Carlos Baleba. You know, I think a lot of people are thinking that Baleba is unrealistic because they reckon that Brighton might price him out of a move. But the thing is with me, you're never gonna know that until you actually put the bid in. And I think Baleba is a player that United are crying out for. Like, as I said before, I'm not going to go into it, but he ticks so many boxes. And he'll be the dream signing for me because you're going to get a player there that you could have for the next 8 to 10 years, providing he doesn't get any injuries, you know, because I do think he's going to be one of the big midfielders in Europe. You know, I can just see it. And again, it's about having that vision for Man United and seeing that there's a player there that is going to be courted by a lot of the biggest clubs in the world if United don't act. And at least, the thing is, as I said to you before, if Man United put a bid in for Baleba, let's say of 60 to 70 mil, and Brighton turn it down, I'll be like, do you know what? Fair enough. At least they put a bid in, and you kind of know where you stand on the player. And if they desperately wanted him, then you obviously, this is when negotiations come in, and you can try and work out an exit for Baleba. But the fact there's been no sort of interest, no bid, the way that I'm looking at it is that United not even trying. you know, and he's a player that will tick so many boxes, as I said, for United. And yeah, it's just frustrating to see that there hasn't been any interest, man. So yeah. So Faram says, "Are you a Barca fan?" I am as well. I'm a Man United fan first and foremost, but Barca's also my team that I like to watch as well, just throughout the years. So so Path 9 says, "Do you think Arsenal will get Gyökeres?" I do. I think it gets over the line one way or another. You know, I think from what I heard last time, I think United are just I'm not Arsenal are messing around between 5 mil apparently from what I've heard. Whether that's true or not, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I do think they get it over the line. It's obviously it's quite obvious as well that Gyökeres is giving his preference to Arsenal, and if Arsenal do get him, for me that is going to improve them in terms of goal scoring. But it's still not going to be enough for them to get over the line, in my opinion. You know, so. But yeah, no, I do think they'll get him. Big up to Harsh Rajora. Big up for coming on, Harsh. Guys, come on. Only 8 likes to 21 of you watching. Let's smash the like, guys, button. Let's smash the like button, guys. Come on. Only 8 likes. Let's at least try and hit 20 likes in this stream today. You know, so if you're just coming through and you're enjoying the content, just smash that like button. And again, make sure you sub to the channel. Go of Polita says, "Hello, where are you from?" So I'm from the UK, obviously England. Big up. Gamer says, Mbembo, I think it's Mbuemo, looks happy at United. You need 3 top players like him. Yeah, listen, it's a good start, man. Mbuemo and Cunha. I can't complain. Even though Mbuemo took forever, you know, he's over the line now. And I have to say, for what Ineos have done in terms of getting both of them players in, which was much needed, you know, you can't really complain. I just hope now there's 3 more signings coming in after this, you know, and 2 of them for me have to be 2 central midfielders. It's a must, you know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. Again, as long as the window's open, then as long as the window's open, then anything can happen. So, and the thing as well, I like it when, you know, United are not even linked to a player, and all of a sudden, you just see the yellow right in the bottom. United are in talks, or you know they've made a bid for a player which has been accepted. I like ones like that. You know, whether that happens this year, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see, man. But I'm just hoping that United do make at least 3 more signings. You know, for me, as Gamer said. Big up to Zero Ronaldinho. Have you been watching the Moroccan women team soccer? You know what? I haven't, but I've been watching the European Championships. Obviously, women's European Championships. And first and foremost, guys, if anyone's seen the women's penalty shootout between Sweden and England, you know, big up for them. But that penalty shootout was yeah, it weren't good. It weren't good, you know. But I'll tell you one thing, that Spanish national team, they're gonna win it, man. They're just too good. They've got too much quality in their team. And I'm gutted for France, to be honest with you, because France was the first game, obviously they beat England, and France looked good. They looked frightening, but they got beat on penalties by Germany, and obviously Germany have got Spain in the semi-final. England playing Italy tonight in the women's semi-final. But I think yeah, Spain are gonna win it, man. Spain are by far the best team in the tournament. You know, they beat who they beat the other night. I can't remember who it was now. Oh, Switzerland. They beat Switzerland the other night, and some of the football they were playing, man, you know, was just was class. So yeah, they're gonna win it for me, definitely. Gunners fan says, I think it won't happen because Man United were his rivals, but Alvarez for Man United, imagine him. What, Julian Alvarez? Yeah, Man United not getting Julian Alvarez. You know, Alvarez was linked to Liverpool, but he's going to cost 100 million easily at Atletico Madrid. So, and the thing with Liverpool, they've got someone in Darwin Núñez who is liked by Atletico Madrid. So if they was to try and go in for him, then that could be a possibility. But I think it's going to cost a lot of money to get Julian Alvarez out of Atletico Madrid. And obviously City sold him for about 80 mil anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. But he's a very good player. Big up to Melissa Manfuso. Yeah, big up, Melissa. Guys, come on, let's at least hit 10 likes. There's 20 of you in there. Big up. Forza Napoli. Okay. Melissa, how do you think Napoli will do this season? Do you reckon they can do back-to-back title wins? How do you reckon they'll get on in the Champions League as well? Let me know. Big up. So Gunners fan says last season our net spend was low because we sold Smith Rowe and bought only Marino and Calafiori. We should spend more. You know what? I keep forgetting about Calafiori. You know that again. What is Calafiori's need now? That's what I want to ask. Gunners fan, let us know. What do you think about Calafiori? Because Lewis Skelly is obviously the first choice left back, and you know that wasn't in Arteta's plan. Because Arteta's plan would have been Calafiori first choice left back, someone obviously that is a centre back by trade and can play there if Gabriel gets injured. To think now that Calafiori has come in, Lewis Skelly is the undisputed first choice left back. Calafiori is not gonna take over from Gabriel. So where's that leaving Calafiori? And not to mention as well, Christian Mosquera has been signed as well, who actually plays as a left-sided centre back. You know, so what does that mean for Calafiori? Because that signing now is looking like a waste of money. You know, because you can't think he's going to be a bench option for the rest of his career at Arsenal. So yeah, let me know what you think about that signing, Calafiori, because I keep forgetting that Arsenal even signed him. You know, Melissa says, what do you think about Kevin De Bruyne's transfer? I think the De Bruyne transfer, to be honest with you, is gonna. I think he's going to a slower league. You know, so he can obviously get on the ball and start picking out his passes, which is what he's known for. The physicality of the Premier League was getting the better of him. You can tell, you know, in terms of the running. You know, his legs were gone, and again, he was being carried in most games. You know, for Man City. But I think going into a slower league, playing for obviously the champions in Napoli, and a team that is the more dominant team in the league, I think it's a smart signing by Conte because you're going to use De Bruyne's quality on the ball. And let's not forget, he's playing with Romelu Lukaku, his compatriot. So those two there will know how to play with each other for Belgium. So yeah, it's a massive signing for them because he's gonna take them on because of his qualities that he offers on the ball, in terms of his passing. So yeah, it's a very smart signing, man. And again, he's playing in a slower league, and you'll get more time on the ball. So yeah, it's a good signing in that sense. Alan X says your midfield is cooked. Listen, Alan, I can't disagree, man. I can't disagree. To think that Man United have a midfield of Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte, Collier, and I'm not mentioning Manu because Manu is not a midfielder in this system. It's actually shocking, and this is why I'm saying central midfield, 2 players in midfield, 2 starters, is essential to come in. You know, and the manager's is hell bent on playing Bruno Fernandes, who's gonna be disruptive to this lineup. Because if he keeps trying to shoehorn Bruno into this team ain't doing anything serious. You know, which is why that 100 million, yeah, is looking even more a joke that it wasn't taken. You know, because United definitely need 2 midfielders to come in. So yeah. So Gamer says, I don't want to watch women's football after that penalty shootout. Guys, if anyone hasn't seen that penalty shootout from Sweden and England, I'd advise you to go and watch that because, again, man, big up the women's game, man. You know, because there are some very good players from what I've seen, but that penalty shootout was nothing short of an embarrassment. You know, it was poor. But yeah, it was. I was laughing the whole time because I couldn't believe some of the penalties and. I was thinking, were they even good saves or just poor penalties? And I think a lot of them were poor penalties, you know. But as I said, man, the Spanish national team, they are ridiculous. They are ridiculously good. They got some very good players there. Is it Pina who scored that long range goal the other day? Obviously, you got Aitana Bonmati as well, Salma Paralelo, you know. What's her name? I think she used to be Alexia Putellas. They've got some serious players there, man. Some serious players, and as I said, they're gonna win the European Championships definitely for me. I'll be very surprised if they don't. Alan X says, and Mbeumo didn't pick United over Champions League. Newcastle can't afford wages. Isak is on 120 per week. That's their level. Alan, big up for coming on, man, but that isn't true. Mbeumo chose Man United. It was nothing to do with the wages. He chose Man United, which is why Newcastle didn't pursue the bid, and which is why Newcastle went in for Elanga. So it wasn't nothing to do with him picking United over He didn't pick United over Champions League, and Newcastle couldn't afford his wages. Nothing to do with that. He chose United because it was a long life dream of his, you know. And once Newcastle found that out, that's when they backed out of the move and went elsewhere. So, but as I said, with Isak, you know, guys, I've been saying, you know, Isak was never going to leave Newcastle, and definitely not for a Premier League rival. If Isak goes anywhere, it's to Spain. And as I said before, he's ideal to be Barcelona's next striker, because you've got Lewandowski there, who is obviously coming to the end of his career. And Isak, at the age he is now, is primed and ready to go and replace Lewandowski. So if he was to move, he's going to be moving to Spain, either at Barca or Real Madrid. And for me, it's likely Barca. So I look at strikers right now in world football, and he's the obvious one for me, because you're not getting Erling Haaland, who's on a 10-year death row contract at Man City. Isak's the one. So I can see Isak, if he does leave Newcastle, going to Barcelona. And again, if he's on 120, as we keep saying, you know, the wages on there needs to be upped. And I'll be very surprised if his agent doesn't go into the boardroom and ask for a new contract, and it's not on the 250 mark, you know, around about 250, 230, whatever. I'll be very surprised. Or unless what he's probably doing, he might just give Newcastle one more season, stay on the 120, and then angle for a move next season. Who knows? Who knows? But I think something's going to happen in regards to that, you know, definitely. So Gunners fan says, I think Calafiori plays left back when Lewis Skelly plays in midfield. But for left back, I want Anthony Robinson, but I doubt getting more left backs. So yeah, I mean, obviously Lewis Skelly's not going to play in midfield this season, because when you're bringing it, you got Zubamendi, Declan Rice, Odegaard, Havertz can play in the 10. You'd think Wanyeri signing a new contract will get more game time in that position. Who else you got there? Mikel Merino as well. So I think it's very unlikely that Lewis Skelly does play in his favourite position in central midfield. But what I would say is, yeah, at left back, he's got that nailed down. And Calafiori, as I said earlier, is that he's a left back and a centre back. So you'd think he's going to be back up to Lewis Skelly. But I can guarantee you this now, that was never in the script for when he signed. So I wonder what's going to happen on that front. Big up to Lumi Rain says, what Man United players shocked you, as in you thought they wouldn't be good, but they changed your mind? For me, it was Nani. I don't really know, to be honest. The thing is, that's a difficult question for me, because whenever I see a player, I can always tell if they're going to be good anyway, you know, and whether they go out to have the career that they should have had depends on many factors, you know. It depends if the club is set up for them to thrive, you know, or if they pick up an injury. There's certain things. So I don't think there's a player that's come into the club that I didn't rate and actually became good, and vice versa. If they weren't good and they became good, there hasn't really been a player. Yeah, there hasn't really been a player, because Nani, from what I see of Nani, because remember, Nani and Anderson both come at the same time. One come from Sporting Lisbon, one come from Porto. And you can already see the potential that both of those guys had. You know, so I wasn't surprised that Nani went on to be what Nani was, because he always showed that potential early on in his career. So yeah, for me, it's quite a difficult one to say, you know, because as I said, I'm very aware of the players that are brought in, um, and obviously the careers that they're going to kind of have at the club. You know, I think if I'm going to say one, it might be Antonio Valencia, because Valencia when he came in, you know, I didn't really rate Valencia. You know, obviously when he was at Wigan, you know, for me, he was just a basic winger. But then when he transitioned to right back, you know, obviously had the captain's armband as well. You know, he did become a solid right back, you know, a dependable right back. So, yeah, I'd probably say Valencia, I would say, for me. Big up to Daniela. Yeah, big up Daniela for coming through. Um, yeah, exactly, Gamer. Embuemo's dream club is United. He's even said that. Imagine Isak to Barca. Wow, Yamal and Isak link up play. Yeah, exactly. Again, I'll be very surprised if there isn't any interest in Isak next season from Spain. I'll be very surprised because I'm just purely looking at the striking department, you know. And again, if we look around world football, there ain't strikers of that age that is doing what they're doing, that is doing what Isak's doing right now, which is why he's the obvious favorite. Because if you look in Spain right now, you know, if you look at the top clubs, you've got Lewandowski, as I said, coming to the end. Obviously, you're not going to get no one from Real Madrid have got Mbappe, who's not a striker really. He's a left winger. That Gonzalo Garcia, you know, he looks like someone that will score goals. But again, I don't think he'll get the game time. Um, Atletico, you know, you got Sorloth, you've got Julian Alvarez, you know, but yeah, we look at Germany. Obviously, Harry Kane is the wrong side of 30. I think Garassi is about 30 now as well. Sesko's 21, but I don't rate Sesko. I don't think he's good. Um, Walter Marder, Nick Walter Marder, he's gone to Bayern. He's going to Bayern Munich. Yeah, then you move to Italy. Italy ain't really got no number nines that you would say. I mean, Lukaku's at Napoli, but again, Lukaku's been around the different leagues. England, again, Haaland, 10-year death row contract. Isak, you got likes of Xerxes. So yeah, again, the strikers market ain't really that great, which is why if you look at Isak and his age and what he's doing now, is the obvious standout. So I'll be very surprised next season if there is an interest in Isak, if he's doing what he's still doing. Nahar says, will Neymar move to any other club? It's unlikely. It's unlikely. I think Neymar, for me, is going to see out his career at Santos. I think he's going to play one more World Cup coming up this year. And then I'll probably see Neymar hang up his boots. And what a career, what a player, man. So for me, and this might shock a few people, maybe not if you know your football. But for me, Neymar's going to go down as, for me, one of the top, one of the top 5 best players ever to play the game. You know, I believe. You know, for me, Messi. And the thing is, I'm not including Maradona and Pele in there and Johan Cruyff, because they're a separate conversation because they weren't really in my era. I think from what I've seen, you know, Messi, Ronaldinho, R9, and I think Neymar, Zidane. I think those players come into it as well. And again, there's so many other players you can put in there. You know, there's so many other players. Eden Hazard, Thierry Henry, Rivaldo. There's so many. You know, it doesn't even feel right leaving out certain players. But yeah, Neymar for me, man, will definitely go down as one of the best ever players for me, 100%. So Nahar says, what do you think about the time that Anthony had at Real Betis? Yeah, listen, Anthony had a very good period at Real Betis, which is why he's been linked with Atletico Madrid now as well. But yeah, the fact that Anthony had a very good season, you know, there's going to be interest in him, and rightly so. So yeah, I think his time at Real Betis was very good. Kutio says you got that man them accent, bruv. Yeah, big up, man, big up. I'm originally from like London, like East London, well, on the outskirts of East London, really. You know, but obviously I live in Essex now, so yeah, man, big up. Uh, it depends what ends you're talking about, man. What ends are you from? And I'll let you know. Big up Kutio, man. Guys, come on, smash the like button, sub to the channel. Big up yourselves. Lumi Rain says Valencia got so many assists at right back. He was so good for 1 or 2 seasons there. Yeah, listen, Valencia wasn't the greatest player on the eye, you know what I mean? But in terms of the service he gave to United, and I'm looking at right back because him as a right winger, you know, it was painful to watch because he was just so basic. It was a joke, you know, but his pace and power as a right back, you know, I think that suited him a lot more, you know, and he was a valuable player for United and dependable. So yeah, man, he was decent. A player I thought was going to be amazing, but at this point, yeah, listen, guys, if anyone knows about Ravel Morrison, you know, obviously Alex Ferguson said he's the biggest talent that he's seen, you know, and I think he said since George Best, I think he said. And again, Ravel Morrison, yeah, he should have been one of England's best ever talents, man. But obviously certain things went on in his career, you know, and he didn't fulfill it. But if anyone knows Ravel Morrison, yeah, you'll know what a top player he was. And guys, as I mentioned yesterday as well, you know, I've seen a Man United reserve team, youth team, that contain the likes of Ravel Morrison, Paul Pogba, Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, Giuseppe Rossi, Lee Martin, Sylvan Ebanks Blake, Chris Eagles, and there's probably a few more that I've forgotten, you know. And to think that United have, you know, have had the likes of Alejandro Garnacho in their first team, Scott McTominay, and I've just mentioned those guys, just shows you how much the levels dropped. Because for me, Kobe Minu, as much as he's not getting game time at the moment, is the only real talent that I've seen come out from that youth team in recent time that has quality, you know. And again, I rate Kobe Minu highly, but if Man United are being serious, Kobe shouldn't be Kobe Minu shouldn't be a regular player for United right now. He should be trying to find a place in the team now. But if United were the team that they should be, then Kobe should be someone at his age that is trying to feel his way into the team, you know. But again, and for me that just shows how much the level has dropped from the United youth team for me. But who knows, man? Who knows? So Haaland is gonna get worn out in 5 years. Yeah, possible. Well, who knows? Who knows, man? The guy's an absolute machine. I mean, it's unlikely. He's an absolute machine, Erling Haaland. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Man City are going to be dominating, you know, and I think someone like Erling Haaland, because Man City dominate the ball, you know, he's not going to be doing too much running around. You know, only when it's going to be threatening in the final part of the final third where he can score goals. So in terms of him getting worn out, you know, if he was playing for a team that was, you know, a counter-attacking team and wasn't a team that dominated the ball, then fair enough. But there'll be times in the game where he'll definitely get his rest in because Man City, the way Pep likes to play, dominate the ball. So, yeah, I think it's unlikely he gets worn out, you know, because of the team he's playing for. So, big up to Jude Fenwick. Yeah, big up Jude for coming on. Simon Ebank says, buy out nuts, bro. I'm not quite sure what that means, but big up. Chelsea are doing bits in the transfer window. Yeah, listen, as I said earlier, guys, Xavi Simons, I'm surprised it's a deal that Chelsea are looking at. But, you know, I think if they get him, if they get him, I don't know if that takes Chelsea competing with Liverpool and City, if I'm honest. I don't think it does, because I don't think he's the one that's going to take them nearer. I'm looking at Rodrigo, Eze, and Morgan Rogers. I think those three players take Chelsea closer to Liverpool and City than what Xavi Simons does, in my opinion. So, but who knows? Who knows? Big up to Chris Gale as well for coming through. Chelsea have bought players that will take a few years to become consistent. That's why they won't win the league anytime soon. And you know what? I'll have to agree with that. I think Chelsea, I think Chelsea can probably win the league in the next couple of seasons. I don't think they'll win it this season. But I think they're the one team in this league that are primed to dominate English football with the ages of a lot of their players, And I think if you look at City in what they've done this season, they've got players that are below 25, 26, Set the same with Liverpool. Liverpool are getting players that are younger than 26. So yeah, I think Chelsea will definitely be up there, but not this season. So SL Magalazzi says some of young players there just need time, but they are good, and in coming years they'll be able to give us results. There's a reason Liverpool and Arsenal are the top two teams. They target top players ages 22 to 25. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Although I don't think Arsenal's signings, to be honest with you, have moved the needle, in my opinion. As I've mentioned previously, you lost Thomas Partey and gained Zubamendi, so you're losing Thomas Partey's physicality, but gaining a better football player in Zubamendi. But that doesn't take Arsenal. That doesn't move Arsenal better for me. Mosquera is going to be a squad player, and back up Gabriel and Saliba. Then you've got Noni Madueke, who I've mentioned previously, and he's taking them backwards. So, and then Gyökeres, if he comes in, I think the work that's been undone by the Madueke signing, Gyökeres probably moves it back level. So for me, Arsenal haven't improved on what they were last season. That's a fact. I'd go as far and say they've probably regressed, because losing Thomas Partey for me, is a massive one. It's a massive one for me, and I think Zubendi is a very good footballer, but we just don't know how he's going to cope in this league. So yeah. So Madueke apparently means no Eze, I heard. Yeah, listen, I don't think Eze would suit Arsenal anyway, because Eze is a number 10. And if you look at the way Man City, the way Crystal Palace play, Crystal Palace play with no number 10. So it's three in midfield, and then Eze plays as sort of a left 10 for Palace. At Arsenal play with Odegaard in the 10. So it's one of them things where they're going to be using Eze as a winger, and Eze's not a winger. So he wouldn't have suited Arsenal anyway. And if they've signed Madueke instead of Eze, again, it's laughable. But in terms of the system and in how Arteta plays, Madueke does actually suit Arsenal more than what Eze would. But again, you don't sign Madueke. So it's just laughable, really. So yeah, man. It is mad. It is mad. Lumi Rain says, also, Arteta apparently doesn't want Gyökeres. He wants Sesko. Well, they're in the final stages with Sesko anyway. With Gyökeres, I heard anyway. So it's mad that this deal's taking so long. But if they pivot towards Sesko, then I think questions will be asked as to what is going on at Arsenal. So we'll have to wait and see, man. But guys, listen, big up yourselves for coming through. Obviously, we've only got 13 likes on there. So if you guys haven't smashed the like button, make sure you do. Make sure you sub to the channel as well. And guys, before I go, I want you, if you guys like your music, check out my boy at Your Boy Truance on Twitch. So it's at Your Boy Truance, all in one word. So if you guys like your music, go ahead and over to Twitch and obviously make sure you listen to my boy, man. Some sick freestyles he's got on his Twitch account. So yeah, make sure you guys go over there and give him some support if you do like your music. And again, when you go over there, just say obviously Gav goes in, sent you over here, you know, if you do like your music. So yeah, he's always on Twitch. I'm not sure when he's live. I'm not sure if he's live now. But yeah, make sure you follow his Twitch, man. It's at your boy Truance. Yeah, and big up yourselves each and every time. Guys, I might be back later today. If I'm back, it might be about 7:30. Again, if anything drops today, any news, I might react to it. But yeah, make sure you got your notifications on, and make sure you check out obviously my schedule for when I go live. So as I said, I might be back live later today at 7:30. If not, then definitely tomorrow at some point. And obviously for the rest of the week. So again, if there's any news that drops, as I say, I'll be definitely be doing a reaction to it. And guys, big up yourselves for your support each and every time. Big up to all the mods for coming through. And as I said, yeah, keep an eye on the schedule, guys. Big up, Gamer. Keep an eye on the schedule. And as I said, I'll catch you guys a bit later. Take it easy.